water cup?
Yeah.
No, I left it in the car.
You're not gonna drink? You're not gonna be thirsty? I mean, you can always stand up.
How can I try a sip of yours?
Yeah.
I want to see if I like it.
NBD.
I would say it hits the spot.
Does
Not
it?
so much.
I like this one better.
That one's better.
Let me try this.
Sierra Nevada.
This one's more of the IPA kind of.
It's more of like a salsa.
That's
water.
more the IPA. This one's more of like a sour. It's kind of got like a citrusy vibe to it.
Okay. I like this.
Do you want me to grab you one?
No, it's okay. I've got
Another
backups.
one? Is there more of the...
I think there's more of both.
Do we have to wear these?
You do not.
Okay.
You don't want to.
Ditch 'em.
You're
Ditch
gonna
'em.
ditch them,
Oh, am I gonna be the only one? Okay, I'm gonna wear them.
It's kind of nice. It like gets you in.
right?
You're always like, you've been a part of so many podcasts, but have you been on one?
This is my first time.
All right, well, point that microphone right at you. Angle
Okay.
it down a little bit. There you go.
Sweet. I'm going no headphones.
No
Cool.
headphones?
Yeah.
Well, then...
Just a little weird hearing
I mean,
my voice.
we could all go no headphones to.
We could. It's just then you don't realize when you're dropping
audio's
away from
peaking.
the mic.
Or if
That's
like
the only
something
problem.
goes wrong.
It's
We'll be
true.
okay.
I'm nervous, just so you guys know.
Great.
I've never done this, and I'm really bad in front of a camera usually.
Oh well.
There's
Like I get-
actually no
Thank
cameras
you. I
here.
mean.
I know.
There's no
I'm
cameras.
just saying, like, you know,
It's just
stage
audio.
fright vibes for me.
Well,
So,
hopefully.
just so you know.
No problem.
Thank you for
Okay.
being brave. You know, being
Okay.
brave is just doing
Thank you.
things even though that you're scared a little.
So
Yeah,
wait,
and usually for me, like acknowledging, like,
I
ooh,
think
I'm.
you're gonna like it less with the headphones. on.
I'm nervous now.
All right, let's go no headphones.
No,
I
no,
think-
no,
I
you
think
guys do
that'll be good
headphones.
for everybody.
You guys do
Who needs them?
headphones.
Nah, we're fine.
No.
Look how free
I
we
can
are.
do
No.
it. I've
don't
just
have
never
to.
done it, so I just need to get used
No,
to
it definitely
You
like
do whatever
pulls you
makes you
in.
comfortable,
So
yeah.
this makes you just feel like you're in a more of a casual conversation.
That's right. All right, here we are.
Casual.
Well, cheers, everybody.
All right, cheers.
We made it. We're doing
Alright.
it. Long time coming.
Yeah, seriously. I
I
feel like we've
know.
been wanting to have you over forever. This is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you said, Isaac said that I'm the favorite person to tour with. And I, like, when Christine came to San Diego, I was like, you have to meet Isaac. We, like, chased Isaac down. I was like, you got to meet
You
him.
know, I was just trying to find this little picture I took of you guys in front of the tour bus one day
Yeah.
on like a disposable camera. It's really good, but
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find it in my drawer.
It's on my
We'll have to look.
computer somewhere.
Yeah,
I've
we've
got it
the
saved
digital.
too. I just
It's
looked.
The love is
at it. Yeah.
mutual.
I don't know
Yeah.
why. It just feels like first day of school vibes, you know? Like they're like going off to.
Yeah, what tour
going
was
off
that? That
to
was the one where
work.
Preston was driving?
Yeah, Preston was driving. He pulled out of that parking lot and like crashed the trailer. It was
Yeah,
like
it was
right
like
after
day
that.
one.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, we got to find another driver. I think it was immediate
Yeah.
because he just, like, pulled out so fast.
It was like a steep drive when he like launched out and the trailer like dug into the asphalt, and then something else happened too, like almost right after or something maybe.
Or, like, backing in. Or, yeah, he, like,
like,
crashed
driving-
right away. Or I don't even know. He just, like, gunned it, I think.
yeah,
I remember you
Yeah.
telling me after that.
yeah.
It's pretty funny.
There's been...
Chris-
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
You go,
Okay.
Haley.
Christine
Yes.
and Isaac, you guys met in Florida, right? Or had you met before that?
I think it was San
Before-
Diego.
There was a random San Diego show
Oh.
that we were both at, and you were
Yeah.
like visiting family or something, and maybe stopped by.
I think.
I don't know.
I think you just came down with Amanda. Did we stay? Maybe we stayed down.
Oh yeah, so I was already living up here and then came down with Amanda and then she flew out and then we stayed there.
It was like the end of a tour. I think the tour ended in San Diego, so we like had an Airbnb at the end. But that was just like a quick meeting. Did you guys get to hang out much in Florida? The helicopter day?
Not really, but we were like around
Kinda
each
go.
other.
It was
I feel like
kinda
I
go
kind of
time.
got to know you then. Mm-hmm. We're just
that
like,
was such a fun little wild trip too. That was the same one as Busey's.
yeah, we were
That
like
was
at
at
Busey's
Yeah,
house.
that was that stay. That was
Shout out to Mike Busey.
Yeah,
That was a
He's
trip.
the best.
yeah.
No, I was just trying to like make myself busy that day. I do think I got I shouldn't even say this because Steve will come for me, but I kind of got like the footage of that day because I got this video of Paul's head getting slammed in a ricocheting screen door, and that was pretty epic.
No.
It was
Yeah,
a really
'cause, like,
great scene.
Have you seen the helicopter? You've seen the whole
I've seen it,
helicopter
yeah.
thing.
I don't
So like
remember that, though.
when the helicopter first shows up, it like blows everything off the balcony.
Yeah.
And so
Paul's like right up
I was
in there
standing there
filming.
filming it, and like I'm just like, you know, there's a screen door that I opened, and I'm just standing there filming it. It's all gonna blow by, but the screen door just like whoosh, like hits me so hard in the head,
It was
No.
really
and
dramatic.
no cameras got it. But Christine happened to be like
I got
like
it.
far away, like way down there, like on the like playground or whatever. I don't know why there's a playground at the Sausage Castle, but she's like filming from the slide and like, yeah, it's a hell of a shot.
Yeah.
And I think you like didn't even know that you filmed that.
I totally
and you were
was
looking
just-
through the frames or something. Paul's like,
For sure. I was just like trying to film the helicopter. I was excited about that. And it wasn't until later that I realized I caught that moment. And like Paul like barely remembered what happened. He had like a huge welt on his head too. I mean, it was a proper hit.
It was a chaotic day. A lot to focus on, I didn't have time to
Yeah, that was a busy
deal
day.
with my concussion. And then we took a helicopter ride to the show, and you were freaking me out because in the helicopter, I'm like, all right, buckle up. Like, people die in fucking helicopters. You're like dangling your feet out the fucking. You're like, I'm not buckled. You're like, it's fine. And like, the door is wide open the whole time, and you're just like sitting on the floor. Like, if we just like turn, you're just gonna like slide out.
that was my seat. There wasn't a seat for me. The helicopter pilot was like, you like. Everyone's getting a seat. He's like, your seat's right there. And I'm like, on the ground. And even Steve was like, yo, get in your seat. I'm like, this is my seat. This is where I'm in the spot I'm supposed to be in.
I was scared you were gonna get dumped out.
For sure. The door's open.
But you didn't
and
seem
he's, like,
phased at
turning-
all.
Well, I mean, that'd be the worst. The guy that's like on the floor is freaking out about like.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
Who were you holding on to, or what? Were you
Nothing.
doing to? Yeah.
Holding nothing.
Ay.
Like
There was
it
nothing.
was just between him and the open world, Orlando, Florida, just nothing.
wow.
There wasn't something to like grip onto really. I think I was like sitting crisscross, and maybe like I did have my hands on something, but
Yeah.
I was even like looking out the window like, this is sketchy.
Okay, would you guys, if there was an opportunity to get on a helicopter, but you didn't have a seat, would you get on the helicopter?
I wouldn't. I was so relieved when Paul was like, because originally that day he came up to me and was like, I think we're all going to go on a helicopter ride at the end of the day. Like, you're coming, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, eventually realized that was no longer true and there wasn't room for me.
Right.
And felt all bad to like come tell me the news. I was so relieved. Like, I'm like, I like the ground. I'll stay
Yeah.
on the ground.
It depends where the helicopter would be going and who's driving it. Like the like no seat scenario.
Right.
But if it's like we're flying like over Manhattan, it's like gonna be epic views, but you don't have a seat. You're gonna be sitting on the floor. I would do it, but I would find something to grab.
I know.
Like I wouldn't just be sitting crisscross applesauce and like just hoping for the best. Like
Or gripping onto somebody's legs at
Yeah.
least.
or like a
like, can we
seatbelt, like
Yeah.
pull it out and like hook myself into it or something. Like there was no safety for you.
Yeah.
It was scary. Did you have headphones on?
Yeah.
Because the headphones are scary too, because it's
Yeah.
just all these like beeps and alarms going
Oh,
off. Like I
God.
took the headphones off because
Yeah.
they were scaring me more than anything. It's just like beep 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 beep, like.
When you
You're
go
like-
up and down, is it like that feeling when your stomach drops? Like when you go in a dip
No, there
of
was no
car
like
or anything?
turbulence.
I also felt pretty comfortable like sitting on the ground because like Vinny had been hanging out of the helicopter
Oh, yeah,
like for a
that's
majority
true.
of the day filming, and like obviously all the stuff with Steve was like pretty sketchy, just to do. So I felt comfortable with the pilot. I wasn't like
Sure.
it was like the safest you could maybe feel. Not
In the least safe
in the least safe
environment.
environment. Yeah.
Well, the guy was like he's like a rescue helicopter guy. Like he flies into like disaster areas and like pulls people out.
Wow.
Like that's his kind of gig. Somehow we got him.
Yeah.
Did you put that whole thing together or no? That
No.
was like outside of you. Nowadays, that would be probably you like really
Yeah, in the realm.
doing
Yeah.
all that.
I think Busey was responsible for a significant portion of that because I recall him saying like a lot of that day, like, yeah, imagine if I had more than 48 hours or more than 24 hours,
Yeah,
like whatever
exactly.
it was.
He
Yeah.
built telephone poles like
with
Yeah,
explosives.
yeah, his team, like, they were on it.
they're unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just funny. There was a lot of guys. There was, like, that one guy that just was, like, talking about wrestling gators, and, like, there was nothing he
The guy with
hadn't
no
done.
teeth, Gum
the
Gang.
guy with no teeth.
Gum Gang, that's what he's
Yeah.
called. He's
He
like,
was
they
a
call me Gum
character.
Gang. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm the wildest man in Florida. All right.
And honestly, I believed him. Like, he looked the part.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
Yeah, he's the
Bunch of
he's the
characters.
intro wrestling to the Channel 5 news documentary on HBO.
Yeah, there's
That's
an
Gum
HBO
Gang.
documentary about like it ends up being all about like the January 6th. It kind of, but like the story starts in Florida, and there's a boxing match between that guy and some other like
Wait,
Florida
what
guy.
documentary is that?
Did we watch
I
it?
think
It's
Not
about
the Q storm.
January 6th.
but from like that political or like that
YouTuber.
interviewer, the
Yeah,
YouTuber guy.
yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name again?
Andrew
Callahan.
Andrew Callahan.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. That I do remember his cameo in that.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Gum
What
Gang.
a legacy. to
Shout
be
out
known
to Gum
for.
Gang.
Just
Yeah, shout out to
wrestling
Gum Gang.
alligators.
What's been the most insane day of work that you've had?
ever.
Does one stand out?
Yeah, one stands out. It was like a Thursday night maybe, and Steve had like just bought the Tesla, and he's going to Vegas, and he like texts Scott and I in the group text that we have, and he's like, I need to come up with like a rad place to sleep. He's like, the video premise is he's sleeping in his car for like 5 days, and we're like, there's a show in Vegas, and we're going to the UFC fights and stuff. And he's like, I need to come up with a cool place to sleep in the car. So Scott and I are like, all right. And we send like some national parks. There's like the Red Rocks one. There's like some other things. And Steve's like, nah. He's like, I kind of want to sleep on like the 60-yard line of like the Raiders field. That's like where his head's at. And it's like 4-ish p.m., maybe 5 p.m. And it might, maybe even like a Friday night. Like, all right, like that's probably not going to happen.
And like tonight. He wants to sleep
Yeah,
there
he wants to do it tonight. Yeah, everything is very
Immediate.
quick. Yeah. And so like that's not a possible, like just, but maybe like the whole thing I feel like with Steve is like when you start to name drop, it opens up new avenues where like the person could be a fan or like whatnot, where things can kind of get shifted into place quicker than normal. He ends up settling on like, I actually want to sleep like in the crane, in like suspended by a crane in my car. Well, let's do it tonight. And like kind of deal. So like I'm like, okay. And like I did like typed in like crane companies Vegas, and like the first one is like a verified business, or like I had so many 5-star reviews that I called them and explained the situation, and they're like, yeah, we can't do that. Like that's not possible. And I'm like, okay, do you know anyone that like maybe would be down to do it? And they're like, yeah, call this, like this is the person's name. And like I looked them up on Google, and yeah, he made it happen. But that was crazy.
But you guys also had to weld like something for the car to sit on, right? You can't just like wrap shit around
like,
it and lift it up.
There is a way like where if you're not concerned about the integrity of the car frame, you can do like straps through the windows.
Oh, okay.
Like go through,
yeah,
and then like up, and it's kind of like a triangular thing. But there's a risk of like bending the car. Plus, that's just sketchy. Like with someone asleep in it for 24 hours, like if the frame starts to.
Yeah, that feels way less safe.
Yeah.
Like if the roof falls out, the whole car goes down.
And he was like, don't worry, like I met this guy at Tesla. He's like, we got the frame handled, we just need the crane. And then we ended up connecting with these like car transport guys that welded a frame like a little bit different than what the Tesla guy was initially suggesting, and Steve slept up there. It wasn't that night, it was like 2 days.
It was.
It was like Thursday, and then I think the crane stunt happened on like a Saturday. Or like a Friday night.
That's just
it was like a Wednesday and it happened on Friday. There's like days in between. But we get to Vegas with no location to do it. Like it's the night before. The welders are like have materials. We have to like go pick up these railroad like metal rods. The crane guy's like, where are we meeting up? And like we don't have a spot. And I'm looking through like on Google Maps, just like big parking lots that have like burnouts on them, like in the aerial view.
Just where some shenanigans goes
down.
down.
It's like, okay, like if there's people like drifting cars there, there's
Good thinking.
There's probably
Honestly.
like,
that is smart.
you know,
Clever.
Isaac's a pro with Google Maps because he spent his childhood looking for skate spots.
Wow.
Yeah.
Using Google
So
Maps.
I'm like,
That's cool.
got a lot of experience with street view
Yeah.
and
Wow.
street signs.
You were trying to find like, oh, where's that spot that I saw in that clip? Or you're like, where am I going to go
can I
today?
skate?
Just like looking for a new spot.
You could do both. Like when I was younger, like before you could drive, like before I could drive, or before like any of my friends could drive. Yeah, like if we're gonna get dropped off in a new area, like scope it out on maps first, because then otherwise like you get dropped off somewhere, you're like a kid skateboarding for miles and there's like nothing to skate there. It's a waste of a day. But if you can like do some preliminary research, street view, cruise around. But like
Smart.
in general
smart.
too,
Smart
like
indeed.
the way that skateboarding clips are filmed, like there is always usually like digits, like an address, like a 3065 on the building or something.
Right.
And then you can kind of deduce where you can do like if it's a retail space or like an office space, industrial space, you do like industrial buildings 3065 Los Angeles, and there's like 10. You can kind of like figure out from there.
The sleuthy side of skateboarding. I had
Seriously?
no idea.
Yeah. But the parking lot that I found, the skateboarding Street View Google Maps paid off. I found a parking lot. Steve went and drove to it, and he's like, this is great. Like it's open. There's not much happening. Like if the tour bus is here, like this will be the spot. And then so I text all the various people that are showing up, like this is where it's going to happen. And then through the night, Dana White gave him permission to do it at the UFC headquarters. So we had like a designated space, like hit up everyone that thought they were going to this random parking lot, like near a strip club.
Just like hoping to get away with it, kind of a thing.
The thing that we've kind of realized with the tour bus being wrapped and so loud is like it kind of gives a seal of like legitimacy, where you're like, oh, Steve-O's here, there's a crane here, like it makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
It's paid off like with some podcasts and stuff, doing it on the RV, like parked in front of someone's house.
Right.
They come out like kind of upset, and they're like, is this like Steve-O? Like, yeah. Then they're like happy. But if it was just like a random like Fleetwood RV, they'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you can't park here.
You can't park here with the generator on. Like, this is my house.
So like our whole town's going to be a shanty town now. It's like that episode of Always Sunny.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's good.
Okay.
But a bunch of people started like living on the street outside their bar. You ever watch that show?
Not really.
It's a classic.
That's pretty funny.
But yeah, it's a wild job you have.
Yeah.
That you sort of fell into, right? I mean,
Yeah, thanks to Halie, really.
Put in a good word.
her,
Really?
Yeah. Her sister was working for the Steve-O Enterprises.
and that was your in.
Yeah, and that was my end because Haley's dad knows Scott's brother pretty well.
So
The
you-
Randolphs.
You got in just working at the warehouse at first?
Yeah.
So that was going to be the idea. You're just like packing up shirts and shipping them.
Yeah. Well, it was skateboards that like launched the need for someone else to come in.
Ah.
So the skateboards released online, they needed help packaging them. And I would work at the warehouse like I think Monday, like 2 days a week.
Because wasn't it they needed more help and it was just a random like, oh, Isaac just
Yeah.
graduated from college and needs
It was
some
like
work,
a one-off thing. And I was,
Oh, it was like even probably a temporary thing.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was
Like,
temporary.
While we get these skateboards
Yeah.
and this
going.
was 2020. So
It was like pandemic times.
yeah.
During mid-pandemic.
Mid-pandemic, yeah.
Whoa.
And I was like kind of in a weird place with like I was doing this organic gardening. I went to school for environmental studies with an emphasis in agroecology. So it's like sustainable farming.
Boring.
Yeah.
I love that. I could learn out of that.
That is really cool. I just, well, anything you would have said, I would have done.
And yeah, he's like chemical engineering. Boring.
Gay.
And so I was doing that. I was doing a job that was like garden maintenance at like residential properties, like doing like
Landscaping.
crop rotation. It was like
Oh.
it wasn't quite like,
Like regenerative farming? Did I
Oh.
get it?
You got it.
you got it. That
Is
was
it like
not
that?
what we were doing.
Oh.
But like kind of like
Crop circles?
crop circles,
Yes.
crop
Did
rotation.
you study crop circles at all in your school? Like, is there even like a little blurb about it?
the like off the top?
Like in the program, learning about.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
You're
wish.
mostly
They
just
teach you like the real stuff, not
Oh,
like
okay.
conspiracies right out the gate.
I mean, crop circles aren't not real. It's just who
They're not-
makes them.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like they don't dive
Right,
into that
right.
probably.
they're not like today we're learning about crop circles. Jeremy Corbell's coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But I was doing this job that I wasn't really like super stoked on, like maintaining chicken coops and like cleaning up after chickens and like planting people's gardens for them. It was cool, but it wasn't like awesome. And then I started working at the warehouse and like I enjoyed it. But even with that, I was a little bit like kind of having this like pre-midlife crisis that like Haley kind of talked me off the ledge with, where it's like, what am, like, I just went to school, like already not really like kind of got this degree that's like I don't know what I'm doing, and then like I started a job related to the degree. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, and then I started working at the warehouse. I'm like, okay, I just don't know what I'm doing still, and then it just eventually like got more tasks from Steve and Scott like on my plate, and then got invited to go on tour, and that was cool. Still like that moment of like, what am I doing? I'm in Iowa for the first time in my life with Paul Brisky, and it's snowing, and we're in Ohio and it's snowing. And it's
Yeah,
like,
walking through Columbus.
Yeah.
Trying to find some beers
Yeah.
and some pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good times.
But that's how it started. The origin story was the warehouse. I'm skipping a lot.
That's okay.
I can tell you.
Well, the
want me to
quarter
talk.
life crisis, like,
Yeah.
what does him going through a quarter life crisis even look like? I've never even seen Isaac in crisis. I feel like he's under pressure all the time, but it's like hard to tell
Yeah, I
that
don't
he's
think I've seen you
not
stressed.
that he's stressed out.
Right. I think it was more, well, you guys both went to college, right?
Yes.
What was it like for you when you graduated? Because did you feel that like a little bit lost, or were you
For sure,
immediately
yeah.
like,
I didn't do shit.
Yeah.
I felt that
College.
way. I was a big adjustment because it's like your whole life. It's like, okay, you
Yeah.
got to take this course to be able to take that course, and then you'll need to take this amount to stay on schedule to graduate in 4 years, right? Everything's like so clearly laid out and spelled out,
Yeah, like
and then all of a sudden, like
Gone.
the script is gone, and
Uh-huh.
and you're the only one responsible for deciding what happens. I felt that same way. Like, oh,
yeah.
okay, what the hell?
I was just
Right.
lying
Now.
to my dad, like, oh yeah, I've been sending a lot of emails out for like some internships. Like some
Yeah.
people are getting back to me, but like really I'm just like smoking pot and just like playing the drums. And like
Yeah.
He knew.
so, yeah.
I'm
It wasn't
sure
a
he
crisis, but it wasn't effective, you know? Did
Yeah.
you go do that?
no, I went to esthetician school right out of high
What's-
school.
What is that?
It's like you know how there's cosmetologists who do hair?
Yes.
You need that license. But for estheticians, it's a shorter program. So you can do facials, waxing, and some other things. So
Cool.
I do eyelash extensions.
Cool.
So straight out of high school, I had a little bit of direction of what I wanted to do.
Right.
Whereas I saw Isaac and a lot of people our age graduate from college, and it was the pandemic as well to add
Yeah.
on to that.
Yeah.
Rough
And
times.
just
Oh, yeah.
like you were saying, there's so much direction your whole life, and then to have that dropped, it's just kind of
Jarring.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And he was like, "Do I move to San Francisco? Do I need to move to New York? Like, do I need to be in a big city?"
Yeah,
And
like
just-
all my what had happened prior to even being in San Diego to have the job at the warehouse or have the job at the gardening company was like school was effectively like canceled for in-person lectures, and we're like
Because of COVID.
yeah. So I'm like halfway
Forget how
through.
young you guys are, man. That like your last year of college was interrupted by COVID.
Yeah. So
It's wild. But you were already done with school at that time.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
straight
done.
out of
I
high
was working.
school, you did like the esthetician school,
Yes.
and then you're working.
Yeah,
Like, presumably with very little school debt. Like,
Yeah,
you
no
took like a
school
smart path.
Well done.
I felt fortunate that I had a little bit of direction of what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I was fortunate. With
And like a
that,
clear
but-
path to employment.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's rough out there. I feel like that's one of the biggest like blunders our high schools, our sister. I guess like high schools in general. They just don't do enough like aptitude tests, like getting kids to realize what they actually like doing and what they enjoy and like what they're good at, and it's kind of just seeing.
Yeah. Like, did people
Like-
judge you for not going to a big school?
I don't think so. I think it's more I judge myself because I easily compare myself to other people.
Same.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
so
Yeah.
that's a hard one.
So I don't know. I think it's, but I don't know what they're thinking.
So right,
But,
but it felt like kind of it was like an unusual decision amongst your graduating class. To be
Yeah.
like,
I think a lot of it
I'm not
has to
going.
do with the social aspect.
right.
A lot of people went to college and made their college friends,
Mm-hmm.
whereas I was still like in my hometown and all of my friends left and we're making new groups of friends. So that was a little different. And I was working with women, like a few other women who weren't so much my age.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have that, social
Typical.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
Paul was the same. Like he went to a 2-year program. It wasn't like
Okay.
you lived in a dorm ever, or kind of had.
It wasn't like a
typical
traditional
4-year
school. There was
Yeah.
no like football team or anything like that.
Yeah.
The school I went to, literally, like they bought out a strip mall.
Yeah.
And just like started teaching kids how to like do music engineering and shit like that.
Oh, wow.
So
Was
Yeah.
it a lot of people your age at
yeah,
that?
like I did get the social thing
Yeah.
though. Like everyone just had apartments, but it was like everyone had apartments in the area in Orlando, Florida, and
Mm-hmm.
like, people were still there was no women at the school, no girls in the whole
Yeah.
like there was like 4 in the whole school.
But
So-
yeah,
But yeah.
it is interesting too.
It was
Like
unique.
growing up too, I felt like it was not an option. It was like, oh, of course I'm going to college. That was kind of like drilled into me, I think, and I just sort of never questioned it. And now we talk about it a lot because Paul like kind of hated school, where I really liked it. I nerded out, and especially not so much high school, but college, I kind of was back into it again and like really loved it. And yeah, I mean, now it's just sort of doesn't make as much sense as it used to, because I'm the same way. Like, I graduated and I've never really used my degree technically since then. And I liked the experience. It was great, but I'm not sure it's worth it for people who are like just racking in the debt. And
yeah, when I hear kids say like I'm not going to college, I'm like, good, that's great. That sounds smart.
And like you've kind of gotten me to even humor that idea, where I feel like I wasn't in a position to acknowledge that was like a good move, but it really is. Like, I feel like the times have just changed so much, and people have different needs and priorities now, you know?
Yeah.
It's just not, we don't expect that or accept it anymore. This idea of like college is the only way. Like, you have to go to college.
It's changing.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because like in high school, Halie was in like AP classes and like preparatory college classes. She was like ready to go with just zero intention of ever going.
Well, I didn't take the AP tests because I knew I wasn't going to a 4-year, but a little bit of challenge was nice.
Yeah.
What I was going to ask you though, do you feel like one of the biggest things you took away from college was social skills? Like, being able to hold a conversation, or maybe debating, or whatever it was?
I guess I just like learned so much about myself is
Yeah.
probably the takeaway. I moved to like a different state and, you know, really threw myself kind of into my own. So I guess that's probably my biggest takeaway, is like I felt like I came into my own there
Yeah.
in so many ways.
Yeah, I think like I just made a lot of really good friends, lifelong friends.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that I improved my social skills. Though there was one guy that like wanted to beat me up, and I was like, maybe I'm like an asshole sometimes and I don't realize it. And that was a big learning lesson for me.
Yeah. What was that situation?
Well, like there was this guy in our class, and the class is just like all
follow-up
dudes,
question.
pretty much, you know. Like, and there was just one guy we would just kind of like razz him a little bit, like Vinny, you know, and like we would just kind of like. It just became like the trend. Like, we're all just like, the funny thing is like, oh, someone else made another joke about this guy and like whatever. Then I was at some party and like I said something to that guy, something pretty innocent. Like there was like a pond in the complex, and I was like, hey, his name was Justin. I was like, hey, Justin, like you should swim out there. Like you should swim out there to that fountain. And he's like, fuck you, Paul. And I was like, yeah, no, you should. He's like, no, fuck you, Paul. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm like, oh, like, wait a second. And he's like, really wanted to fight me. And like, I had never really had a serious confrontation with any human in my whole life. So I was like, wait, what? And luckily, like, one of the kids who was like more of a like scrapper, like jumped on him and like, you know, like sort of like mellowed out the situation. He didn't like fight him. He just kind of like slothed him. He just kind of held him. And I was like, oh, wow, that was like weird. I don't know, like, why would that guy be mad at me? And then like I just sort of realized like, oh yeah, maybe I was like
Pushed too hard.
I pushed him a little too hard.
Pushed him too hard.
Maybe Justin, prior to going to the party, was like, if one person messes with me, I'm going to kick their ass.
Yeah,
Seriously.
maybe.
And so it was just you were the first person.
Yeah, or
that
maybe
night.
even that day he found out like something with his loans fell through, or like there was some other stress in his life that he was like fragile in that moment.
Seriously.
But anyway,
I had like a situation like that, but I was the aggressor. There was this guy in college. We were at this like a party at this apartment complex, and this guy was just being a jackass. Like, kept like taking signs down and like throwing stuff, and we were all gonna get, you know, like arrested, right? It seemed so serious. It's like, don't create this scene. Like, there's no problem here. And then finally, he's just like out in the middle of this crowd, and he's like yelling at everybody, being like, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do? Like, screaming. And finally I like walked up and punched him.
Good for you.
And then he like
punch him in the face.
in the face. I punched him, and then he just like, it didn't look like it hurt at all, so I did it a second time.
That's good.
And like, he kind of somewhat snapped out of it a little bit, but not really. He still was on one. But then like a year later or something, and I lived in the dorm with that guy, and so I would see him around every once in a while, and it was always just like a kind of look away situation. But then I bumped into him on this like overnight train from Tucson to LA that I took that like for spring break that year, and he's like, yeah, my my grandfather died that night, and I was freaking out. Like I was really close with my grandpa, and we had this whole heart to heart about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's why you were being such a dick, and I just popped him.
Like this, or
so-
like
Oh no, I wound up. Like I did a proper.
straight in his face, the side.
It was the side. It was
Twice.
Yeah.
So no broken nose or nothing.
No, I didn't.
You know, but
do
I don't
any
think you were in the
damage.
wrong, even though he was like going through some shit. He was like causing a fucking issue. Like, learn how to kind of process
Point is,
things.
I'm not sure there was a real proper good takeaway from that. I just was acting a fool just the same way he was. But
I'm proud of you for punching a guy in the face, honestly.
Thanks.
I've never punched anybody in the face. You ever punched someone in the face?
No,
that was my only time.
and you did it twice.
I had to make sure it was like going to be worth telling, you know?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Have any of you gotten into a fight at any
Not
point
a
in your
proper
life?
fight.
Never in my life. I've either like talked my way out of it or someone else has jumped in and like handled it.
We were
Yeah.
just
Like, on
talking
my
about
behalf.
this earlier too, because Paul has like our cousins down in San Diego, and they're like scrappy fighters. And when they were little, it was like their parents had to say, "No, we're going to the Briskies. Remember, you have to be a little gentler with these soft boys."
Yeah, they're not like you
They're
guys.
not
They're
built
not,
like
you know,
you.
you're going to make them cry and then...
But it's funny. I mean, we went out in San Diego a few years ago, and they were literally still wrestling in the streets. Like,
No
Like,
fighting
people were coming
drunken
by
at
like,
the
hey, is
bar.
this like a problem? I was like, they're my cousins. It's fine. They're cool.
They were
They're two
literally
sisters. They're so
rolling on the
funny.
ground.
They're my favorite people in the
They're
world. Where they were
hysterical.
literally on the ground, outside, on the sidewalk, like laughing, but just like scrapping.
Wait, so how old
I've
were they
never.
at the time?
This
This
was
like a few years ago. Yeah.
And
So they're like 30. They're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they're our age.
That's
That's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I was raised a little soft. I'm soft.
Yeah.
You know?
We met someone yesterday that like grew up with
Nice. It's not soft.
no, and like this gentleman was telling us some pretty funny stories of like something happened at a bar and just like has this guy in a headlock. And he's like, "Do you want me to like? What do you want me to do now?" And the guy's like, "I don't want him in the headlock to begin with." The dude's face is like turning purple. yeah,
Yeah. it's
Literally,
not
nobody
soft.
asked for this.
yeah. They're like, "I want you to stop."
He's like, you want me to punch him? Yeah, you know too?
I've never met. I've only heard stories.
Oh,
Legend.
man.
Yeah.
He's
Why
the
do
best.
you say he's not soft? Like what? I mean,
He's
besides
just
the
ready to
tattoos
throw
and
down.
stuff,
Like, no, not that at all. Like,
makes him hard.
if someone's causing some shit, I sort of try to stay quiet, sort of be invisible to the guy who he might be start throwing wild punches. Like, is like, what's up? Like, and like shoving people, and like he's just ready. Like, he's ready. Like one night, some guy was like talking shit outside the bus, whatever, like drunk guy, and then that guy just like started to walk away. Like, okay, he's leaving. It's over. But then goes outside and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And like followed him, and we're like, "What is doing?" But he doesn't, Papa don't want no mess. Like, he doesn't fuck
Yeah.
around. Like, it's in some ways I respect it. Like, I don't have that. My buddy JC once like threatened to like punch. He's like, "I'll fight you right now," and I was like, "What?" Like, I just got kind of quiet, and like I think he was silly to like escalate that to like, "I'll fight you over this," but also like. I kind of respected it because I'd be so afraid to say that to anybody. Like, I'm going to fight you right now. Like, what if they say yes? Like, then I got to fight somebody? Like,
Yeah.
fuck no. I don't know. So, yeah.
Wasn't there another situation on that tour, Isaac? With
Yeah, I
him?
don't even.
Okay,
Okay, we won't bring it up.
Break,
Yeah.
He's a legend.
I will say, like, I did, like, with someone like, I feel safer. Like, if
For
something
sure.
happens, like, he's there to, like, protect you in a way that, like, I would be unable to do.
For sure.
And unwilling to do.
But doesn't it bring up two things? Like, anyone who likes to fight, they're here, so there's potentially going to be this,
It's true, like-
scary thing that's going to
Yes.
happen. But also, they could protect us if some shit went down.
Yeah, well, like we were
So-
saying, his best quality is his worst
Yes.
quality.
There we go.
This is a conversation we
So-
had before that we started the show, where very often people's best quality is their worst quality.
It's interesting.
And like with someone like that, same with someone who's so soft and so like docile.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't have to worry about this guy. He's not going to cause any problem. But if there's a problem, he's not going to do shit. Like,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
It was, but yeah. I love that guy so much. He's the best. And yeah, you do feel safe around him. Like,
Yeah.
because he's not only going to protect you if he has to, like, he'll be psyched about it. You know? Like,
Yeah.
He's so ready.
Yeah. It's like the fight's going to happen because he's there, but he will also protect you.
He'll protect you from the fight.
Yeah.
He'll create it and he'll end it. He'll start it and he'll stop it. Yeah. Oh, anyway. All right. We'll give him a break.
Yeah.
Break. It's the best.
Have any
He's
of
the
you
guy.
guys gotten tattooed by me? No.
No.
I don't
Do you
think...
have tattoos?
Yeah.
Started that game
Yeah.
yet?
Yeah, Isaac got his tattoo. Was that your first tattoo? No.
No.
Oh, you've had a few. You got to
Yeah.
get some good silly ones.
Steve gave me a tattoo of a cobra with tits,
Mm-hmm.
and it says Nobra. It's drawn by Taurus Walker.
I don't know how I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
that's
Okay.
a fun one.
Yeah.
And you have a windy tattoo, yeah?
From Steve, yeah.
I was gonna get a pink toilet from him. My grandma had a whole pink house.
Oh
Pink
my gosh.
Exterior, interior, pink toilet paper.
Wait,
On
Wow.
a gold.
Dun-dun, dun-dun.
my grandparents too.
Really?
Literally, my grandpa and his second wife had this attic, and it was like stepping into a dollhouse. Everything was pink, and there was like a pink toilet, and like frilly, ruffly everything. That's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Get yourself a pink toilet tat. I like that.
I was like, that'd be fun. That'd be funny and cool.
There was ours was
toilet.
like randomly. I don't know why they had it though, because it wasn't actually like set up for plumbing. And I remember my sister like took a shit in it once and like did as like a 5-year-old, and it was a problem because it
Oh.
didn't actually work.
Was it in the bathroom?
It was like, I mean,
That's a good question.
so my grandpa passed away when I was like 5. So these are old memories, but it was just like kind of in the middle of the room. Like it didn't make sense.
But your sister was like potty training or something like that.
She
or
was
no?
just young enough to like have to go when you
I gotta
gotta
poop,
go.
there's a toilet.
She pooped in a toilet. That's what she was taught.
She did a
She
Dave
didn't
England.
know. She didn't know to follow the pipes. So like check out the pipes.
Yeah, I mean, I
But-
think. Wow. The pink toilet. Would you color it in pink, or you
I think
are
so.
pink?
That's so cute.
Like colored in like a
Oh,
bubblegum
yeah.
pink. He's kind of pink.
How do you
right?
feel about dumb tattoos? You into them?
I don't have any tattoos.
I don't either.
Do you ever want any?
I don't know. I sometimes think about them, but I never enough to care. Like I just don't care enough to actually go through it.
Yeah. It feels a little scary for me to commit to something that'll be. I mean, although there are lasers now.
Yeah.
Where if you don't like it, you can get it off.
Mm-hmm.
A little extra pain, but
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I toy with the idea, but just you're so casual with it. You just are like, sure, I thought of this. I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that.
And some of them I regret, and like, wow, now I've done them forever, and it looks stupid. But like, that's kind of
See, I
like,
can't handle that.
that's one of those like, even that's not as bad as you think it's
Right.
gonna be. Like, so what? So I have a tattoo on me that's fucking stupid. You know,
What's
like,
the stupidest one?
I think probably this one, which like I go back and forth from it being my favorite and least favorite. This was my first tattoo.
It's your greatest strength and your
It's-
greatest weakness.
It says "Truth Don't Die" across my chest.
Yeah.
I got when I was
That's
20.
your stomach.
I think
That's
it's your
not your
stomach.
chest.
I think your chest is up here.
Chest is up here.
Okay, it's middle. It touches ribs on the side. Those are my ribs right there.
Well,
That's not my stomach.
it's not your chest.
That's my stomach.
Okay. So it's on your chest.
It's mid chest. What is it? Torso.
Abdomen?
Yeah, it's
Mid
your
torso
abdomen.
abdomen. But you know, that's what it is.
It don't die.
And like anytime I'm at a pool or anything, people, I just like, why are people look? Oh yeah, I got this stupid fucking tattoo that they're reading. You know, like, and they're reading it. They're going like, oh yeah, okay. What a dumb fucking thing to get.
What made you get it? What was it?
I just wanted. I wanted it, I guess. Like,
yeah.
so it's a song by a guy named Femi Kuti,
Okay.
whose dad is this singer, Fela Kuti. Super awesome Nigerian. I'll put my shirt down. Super awesome Nigerian Afrobeat art. He's like the James Brown of Africa. He's like the coolest. So I just wanted to get the tattoo. But I also kind of was like on this mission to like, you know, that clear path of like go to college, like get a job, like do that. Like I wanted to like get off of that railroad track, like, and it felt like this is one way I can kind of shake myself off of it.
Stick it to
Yeah.
the man.
It's like a crazy thing, and it's whatever. It's just like a wild thing to do, kind of. And I was just feeling like I needed to do that, I guess, when I turned 20. So
I get
So
it.
I got it.
I pierced my belly button. that was my answer.
There you go.
And I regretted that instantly. But it was like a buy one get one free piercing, and I wanted my tragus, and then I just decided to get my belly button. And
On your chest?
Yep, on my chest. And just terrible. I just hated it.
Was
Why-
it painful? Why did you hate it? Yeah.
It hurt a lot, but then I remember like that first break because I was in freshman in college, and then I remember going home, and somebody like asked me to see it, and I was like, no. And he's like, well, why'd you pierce your belly button if you didn't plan to show anyone? I'm like, well, I didn't do it for you. I know that for sure. I'm not sure why I did it, but I just like a sale, I guess. Like, that's the honest answer. It was a BOGO. They got me with the BOGO. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And then, I took it out and, still have the scars a decade later. And I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have done that.
You really don't like scars.
I don't care for scars. And I don't like the idea of looking at my skin every day and being like, I'm a fucking idiot. Like, I shouldn't have done that. Like, that, I would not like that.
You shouldn't get a tattoo.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever get a tattoo, Halie?
At this point, I have no interest, so I'm kind of with Christine on that one. Yeah. I have buyer's remorse. I'm someone who I'll buy something from the store, and then I get home and I'm like, should I have gotten this?
Oh my
I don't really
gosh,
need this. Maybe I should take it back. I kind of go through that quite
do
often.
that.
So I feel like I'd be the same with the tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
Right,
Maybe
or
I don't really like it here.
Is it the right place?
Yeah.
That's not quite what I was envisioning.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And it drive me a little crazy. So
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
It happens a lot with clothing. Like, she'll be like, do you like this shirt? And I'm like, yeah, it's great. And she's like, oh, it's a great shirt? Or and then, like, I'm kind of in this thing where, like, do you like it? And she's like, I'm asking you. And you're like, okay, I like it. I mean,
and then I'll be like, well, Ivan said he didn't like it, which
Yeah,
is his
my
younger
brother.
brother. And then he's like, okay, yeah, I don't like it. I'm like, see, you didn't like it.
Wow.
I get the buyer's
But,
remorse
yeah.
too, but I also get the I didn't buy that remorse, and like
Yes.
that's what I was playing
Shoulda
today.
bought more.
Yeah.
I went to Goodwill today and I was rummaging, and there was like shit that I left behind. I'm like, why? Why did I do that?
Yeah.
But I know why. It's because my closet's very small and not good at parting with things. So I gotta reintroduce the 1 in, 1 out policy, but I've been too soft.
No, that's
Soft.
good
Too
policy.
soft.
We're soft.
You guys thrifters? You like to rummage?
I think a little more than me.
more than Halie doesn't like the smell of like a thrift
Okay.
store.
Oh yeah, it'll get
Well,
you sneezing pretty quick.
Yeah, it's dusty in there. I'm
It
with
can be
you.
rough. I get it.
And then like
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
sneezed a lot today.
I have become more
Yeah.
and more comfortable in thrift
Yeah.
stores. I sound like an
Yeah.
ass right now. No,
Yeah.
I can handle it.
It's not for
but-
everybody.
it's a little dirty for her.
I mean, there's no denying. Like, I have definitely had friends that like brought clothes home from thrift stores and didn't wash them and wore them and got like scabies and shit. Like, it is.
yeah.
You gotta wash them.
You gotta wash that stuff, and
And I always have to sneeze in a.
It is
thrift store.
very
The
dusty.
smell is probably the worst part of a thrift store. Like,
Yeah,
Right.
you know, it's true, but
And it's all of
not for
people's
everybody.
the oil on their skin. That smell is what I've heard. So I have that stick in my brain all the time. That is all these people's smell. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
of
feel like
pheromones.
I've gotten a lot of pheromones, a lot of them.
yeah.
I feel like I've gotten better with it
Yeah.
though, and I'm more comfortable in those situations.
Yeah.
And I found some good pieces thrifting. So
It's like a
It's gotten me
weird
comfortable.
process because it's sort of like a treasure hunt, you know? It's like
Yeah.
you can't go in there when you're like, I need a pair of black dress pants for work. Like, because you're never going to find the thing you need to find.
right.
It's just sort of like, what's in the lotto today? Like, what am I going to find? A weird ass thing.
Mm-hmm.
That, like this. I didn't need this. But
You did.
I did, you know?
I like it a
I also
lot.
did
That's
need
good.
it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And it takes patience, right?
Yeah, you have
Looking
to store
through
it for
each-
hours.
That's the part I don't have. Like if I go with her,
Yeah.
I'm through that
Yeah.
store in like
And
10 minutes max, and I'm just like I've seen everything, and I got these 3 things. I'm out.
I will
Yeah.
easily spend like 3 hours. I'm like,
And I
I
was like,
waste
what are we-
time. I waste
Like you
time
know, there's like
looking.
lines of racks, and it's like every single
Yeah.
thing needs to be slid over. Like you can't leave until you've slid every hanger 4 inches over to see like that. Oh, that's
That's my
yellow.
happy
Yeah, it's like
place.
oh, that one's like a lighter yellow. Yeah, okay. Oh, like the Bahamas. It's like it's just the whole store needs to be combed through.
My greatest strength is that I'm a good thrifter, and also my greatest weakness is
There
that
you
I
go.
end up buying all this shit I don't ultimately need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you're funny because like I don't see you as a thrifter because you always get like the hot.
I mean, you're wearing a
new
Supreme
shit. Yeah, we
shirt
got a
right now. I
Supreme
don't
shirt
think
right here.
that screams
Yeah.
thrifted to me.
No, but we definitely. I used to go to the Goodwill bins pretty heavily.
See,
and
that
then-
actually overwhelms me.
Okay.
Because then you're really up close and personal, like in the garments, like kind of
Yeah.
flying them everywhere. Your
Digging.
hands are in there. It's way more involved than the flipping of the hanger.
Okay.
And then I was kind of on your same tip of like having to look at, especially like if we went to like a vintage event, there's like vendors. I would definitely like, okay,
Sure.
yeah, and then like
They make it easy because they've already done the sorting.
yeah,
It's
but then
curated.
it's also a problem because then you kind of want to look at each thing.
Yeah.
Where you like actually do want to slide every single.
Right, because
hanger
there's
over 4
potential
inches.
in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like lately kind of toned it back a little bit.
That's good.
Well, Isaac too knows what tags he likes, like what tags
yeah.
to look for, right?
Like
Yeah.
the
Which
Screen
com-
Stars
yeah.
XL. That's always
Yeah.
gonna pretty much fit.
That's a wow.
It's a type of
Like, you know your
vintage
brands.
tag.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
And then like certain ones I'm like XL, certain ones I'm large. So I've kind of streamlined it a little bit.
That's
Damn.
smart.
Yeah.
You're more selective.
Yeah, that's clever.
You're a smart shopper though. I'm never like I'm kind of random when I. Do you
But-
do a lot of research before you buy something?
No, but you're also like circumstantial. Like you just don't wear shoes one day and you're like, oh, I gotta go to dinner. And then you stop at Goodwill and you're like, dude, these were size 10. Like,
Yeah,
these
I
are
got
my
really
shoes for
lucky.
dinner.
Yeah.
And they're like a People magazine shoe.
I have
you
a
know?
People magazine shoe. Did I show you those?
No, which shoes are those?
They're like I think they're inside the house right now. I'll get them.
Oh, they're inside.
they say
That's good.
people,
Where
like-
else would they be?
Well, I bought them because I was gonna leave them in my car shoes in case I have this situation again.
Car
Because he goes to work without shoes.
I know.
And then he's like, oh, I've got this dinner tonight. So he's like, it's moments like these where you kind of wish you wore shoes to work.
I try so hard every day. Are you sure you don't want something on those? He'll always walk around here too because this house stays pretty shady, so like
Yeah.
it stays cooler than it is outside all the time. He's like, I think I'm pretty cold. Like, should we make a fire? He said that today. I'm like, it is 86 degrees outside. Just like put on a pair of socks if you have to. Grab a sweatshirt. Like, no, we don't need a fire right now.
He just wants to be cozy.
yeah. But I'm
Read a
like,
book with the
cover your
fireplace.
feet. You'd be amazed at how much heat they keep.
They were not inside.
Oh.
Well, yeah, look at this. People magazine shoe.
He-
Like, what else would that be? That's People
Wow.
Mag. That's the same logo.
Yeah.
Footwear.
But they do footwear too. Stepped on a blueberry.
It's actually a nice
That
shoe.
was worth it.
Now
Well,
the-
good thing I went and got
now-
that shoe, huh?
The next question is have you actually worn those shoes since?
No, but they're like a backup. They're like
When I
they
forget
were
my
in my
shoes.
car. If I'm in a situation where I didn't wear shoes outside of the house, I have shoes.
Make sure that other one gets back in the
Yeah.
car.
I
'cause
know,
otherwise you're gonna
seriously.
be- yeah.
He's about to
I'll just be hopping
fuck-
through a restaurant.
and fucking himself.
We have a table for two, please. And just hopping through. Yeah. Okay. So back to your quarter life crisis.
Okay.
You said like, do I go to New York? What do I do? Like,
Yeah, so,
what,
like-
what would you be doing in New York?
Well, I had like my friends from college who I lived with and like was
This you went to school in Santa Cruz?
yeah, UC Santa Cruz.
Banana
But-
slug.
Yeah, I'm a banana slug.
Okay.
That sounds derogatory. That's what that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Their
Little
mascot.
banana slug.
Like everyone had kind of like moved to San Francisco, and then like the one kind of remaining friend that was in LA was moving to New York, and I was like not really sure what was happening with my life, and like I was like, Haley, should I maybe move to like be with them, like, and be in the same position, you just worse off in a different city, like
Right.
but like with people that I was comfortable with.
Almost like a FOMO. Like, am I missing
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they're doing?
Yeah, but then I was like, I'm not. Like, it was just, everything was kind of crumbling at once, it felt like. And I had moved back to San Diego, and Haley and I were, like, with my mom, at my mom's house, when, like, the lockdown happened. My mom's like, Haley, you've either got to, like, stay with us, or, like, go, like, you guys have to go to Haley's parents' house. And we're like, okay, we'll stay here. So, like, Haley's just thrown into, like, living with my family.
But we
And-
were used to that because in the summers, Isaac would come home and then I'd go stay at his mom's because his mom's house is a really nice setup. How do you explain it? 2 apartments?
Yeah, it's like 2 places that were a wall was knocked down to connect into one. So
Okay.
there's like a downstairs area which is like has a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen, a living room, and that connects to an upstairs area which is like where we grew up. So we were in like the downstairs area, which
Which
is basically like its own apartment,
What
but
do
it
you call it,
does
like a
connect.
mother-in-law suite?
Well, no, because the walls are gone.
And
right?
upstairs, because upstairs has its own living room, kitchen.
yeah.
So like
Interesting. Yeah.
we
So
felt
it's a
very-
duplex but connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wall was knocked down.
The wall was knocked down.
Yeah. But it was really nice because
Yeah, that
when
sounds
he would
nice.
come home for summer, his mom was so welcoming and we would have that space kind of to ourselves. It felt like we had our own apartment in a sense. So
For sure.
It's like
It was-
your own apartment without like any
oh
responsibility.
yeah. Yeah.
Mom's like
Yeah.
cooking, cleaning, and like making sure your laundry's done.
Yeah,
really
you're
nice.
Like, why do we even have a kitchen
Yeah.
down here?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
it's full of
completely.
popsicles.
I got a fluff and fold downstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the quarter life crisis was more of just like feeling like I don't know what's happening and feeling like I was kind of for the first time out of control of my life because like it had been structured, you know, school to do this and like get a job and then you're like, I don't really know if I like this whole working
Right.
thing. And yeah, Halie just that's what the quarter life crisis
So
was.
what did you say to him? Like, how did you help him with it?
I think what did I say? I think I was trying to be as supportive as I could for him to make his own decisions and do his own thing.
So you stop being a little bitch.
Yeah, basically.
No, but I feel like since we've been together since we were 19, it's important that we let each other kind of grow and make your own decisions and try and be as supportive as possible because I feel like we mutually don't want to get in the way of each other. I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, I'm going to
Going-
move to New York and I'm going to work at Central Park doing like maintenance. I was like kind of dead set on that for like 5 minutes. Yeah. Which felt like a
And
while.
you were like, go for it.
Well, wasn't it more film that you were interested in?
It changed every 2
It
months.
did. Yeah. Yeah.
The grass was greener on the other side.
And every
Yeah,
other side,
yeah,
everywhere you look, it's
Yeah.
greener grass.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
because
a-
your dad is in film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why that felt like an option?
Yeah. It felt like an easy in. And it was like interesting and came with health insurance and things.
So how do you feel now in terms of this like crisis? What am I going to do with my life? Like what I mean, I asked you this in London and nobody needs to have an answer, but I was like, what's the like goal for you? Like, you know, like what's the goal? Is there one?
Your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. No, like it's interesting. Like piggybacking on the conversation that we had there is like this was kind of always what I wanted to do. I just didn't know that this is what it was and this is what it looked like. Like I've always skateboarded. I always kind of wanted to work in skateboarding, but like didn't really see a future for myself working at like a skateboard company. And like Steve is a skateboarder. We skateboard for work.
Mm-hmm.
He sells skateboards. So it's like a skateboarding adjacent brand that comes with all these other benefits of like stunts and podcast guests and doing these other things that are like all interconnected. So the crisis is over. There's no quarter life crisis. It hasn't turned into a midlife crisis.
That'll
It's
come.
like, yeah, that'll come soon. I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Great.
And like surrounded by all these awesome people, and like doing really interesting things that I never would have
Yeah.
expected.
Your life is exciting.
Yeah. It's like Vinny and I have this conversation quite a bit where like a tour day is like a month. Like you're just experiencing so much and there's like so much stimulation.
And you meet so many people.
Yeah. And there's like so many things happening and you're like in a different city or state every day and you look back on like a 2-week tour and you're like, the thing that happened at the beginning feels like so far away. It feels like
For sure.
like Christmas. Last Christmas felt sooner than that.
Yeah. There's even like whole friendships that like happen in that one day.
Yeah.
There's like Rachel like behind the bar, like she was cool because she helped you plug that thing in, and like
Yeah.
you guys kept kind of like talking or whatever, like,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, Ray, like then you learn each other's names. What's up, Isaac? And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, never see you again ever. Goodbye. Like that whole arc of a friendship happens in a day,
Yeah.
and that like for like 6 different people, like you
Yeah.
have that connection.
It's crazy. Yeah, you meet the person at the event. It's like the audio guy, and the audio
Yeah.
guy like does something on the laptop, and it changes the whole game for the rest of time.
Right.
But like the next day, you don't even. You're like, was it Ryan or was it
Yeah.
Tyler? And yesterday
Insane.
he was like the man that made everything happen. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, touring's nuts. Have you gone on the tours at all? Or like you've met up for parts of it, but
Yeah, I haven't really. Have I been on a real tour? Only when they were in New Zealand, and when they were in the UK, and it was more me kind of doing my own thing and exploring and letting Isaac work during that time. But I experienced that too because I had never traveled alone. But I got a little bit of that, and you would meet people while traveling by yourself, and you'd have these cool connections, and then it'd be like, okay, bye. It was nice meeting you. Have a good life.
See you never.
Yeah, see you never.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was gonna say, like, kudos to you too for being comfortable and like able to give that amount of space. I think, especially being, you know, starting dating at 19 at a young age. Like, you're right, you still have so much growing to do. So it's so important not to like stifle each other's plans by holding on too tight. You know, do you find it really hard when he's on the road and you're at home, or?
Yeah, I think I used to find it harder when it first started. I think I've kind of gotten my flow, or I don't know what the word is, but figured out what keeps me busy and occupied, which is, okay, Isaac's gone. I'm going to see my family a lot more. I'm going to hang out with friends. And that's been a big thing for me the last year. Like, okay, I'm going to make more friends and make that a challenge for myself. And it's been really good for me. And I feel like, right? I
Yeah,
don't know.
totally.
Yeah.
For you, Christine, like when Paul's about to leave for a tour, or like it's coming up, would you feel like, what was your like demeanor like? Would it change?
What is my demeanor? You know, mentally I feel fine, but I definitely do like, I kind of pull away to a little extent. Like I kind of put up a little guard where I'm like, I'm not like that warm and fluffy on the phone when he calls. I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, but I'm sort of, I don't know. I'm like at an arm's reach. I'm a little bit like, I don't know if you noticed that. Am I selling myself out here?
no,
Tattling on
you're all
myself?
right. You're not tattling.
I don't
on
know.
yourself.
It's hard to explain, but it's like a defense mechanism where I'm like, I can't fully like have you here. So I'm just I'm like kind of treading water, waiting for you to get back. And then I'll like dive back in.
Sure, but you're not going to be like, oh, I miss you so much, like every single day. Like, what's the
Yeah.
point of that? Like,
I
I
don't-
chose to leave to go on this trip. Like, we miss each other. Like, what's the
Yeah,
point of...
exactly. I'm sort of just like matter of fact about it. I'm just like, yeah, you know, you say it a lot. You're like, I really miss you. I'm like, yeah, I miss you too. It's like, of course I miss you too, but I'm not going to sit here and like talk about it for 20
Yeah, I
minutes.
feel a little guilty sometimes when I'm gone for so long.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you know, you kind of get used to it a little bit. It was certainly harder when I had less going on in like my own world here.
Yeah.
Because then that absence was like really palpable. Like I wasn't filling it with anything else. But yeah, I think with practice I've gotten better. But there is like another element of the touring which I feel like is a little bit hard and would sometimes bother me. And it's sort of like, it just, to no fault of yours, it's like it's always on their timeline, you know? It's like their schedule. They call when they can, and it's not necessarily that it's like convenient for us on the receiving end, but it's like the moment they have. And so sometimes I find like that could be a little bit just sort of off-putting where I'm like, you know, answering a phone call at a time it's not great, or I like, you know, kind of drop what I'm doing just to jump over. So,
Sure.
you know, it takes a little juggling. You know, you just kind of have to finesse it a little bit, I guess.
The first tour I went on when I got back, you weren't stoked.
Why? Oh, yeah? What do you remember?
I just remember you weren't stoked. Like, you were just kind of like...
I get like, I think, yeah, I don't know. I get a
You
little
sort of
bit.
felt like abandoned or left behind or something.
I think
you
a
know?
little bit. Sometimes.
I think that's normal feeling.
Yeah, and it was like the first, you know, Christine had moved here. I was like, move to LA,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
it was like, bye.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of not, like, it made sense. It all made sense.
It's also too like there's a difference between like what I know is logical, but then the way I'm like emotionally responding to something
Sure,
too.
it was a
so
visceral
sometimes like
reaction.
those things aren't necessarily aligned.
And I felt it especially because, like, Steve, like, in the middle of the tour was like, you want to start opening the shows? And I was like, sure. So, like, here I was, like, performing stand-up comedy for, like, thousands of people. And I came home and I was like, oh, my God, it was awesome. And,
Right.
like, you were, like, not stoked. So I think that's also why it felt extra. But then, like,
I was stoked for you though.
I know you were.
Just
but
wasn't stoked on the
way
dynamic.
Yeah. And so, but then this UK tour, I was like, man, Steve asked me to come on this UK tour, and I feel like I probably should go. And I like been avoiding the tours because I don't like being away for so long. But you were like, you should go. Like,
I even tried
go.
to get you to go to Australia.
Yeah, I didn't want to go to
I
Australia.
was like, what do you mean you don't want to go to Australia? Like, that felt, you know. So, yeah, I guess I've definitely changed my tune a little bit.
It just feels more normal, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
it's like...
Yeah.
I feel like for them, when they go on tour, they're so busy, they're preoccupied and not thinking about it. Whereas, I don't know if you feel this way, but we're at home still in our normal lives,
Right.
without our significant other.
Yeah.
So it completely changes for us being home, and you feel that.
Because for us,
Totally.
everything is
Missing.
totally
Exactly.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like getting new experiences that are
Yeah.
like filling up your cup. And I know it's exhausting too to be on tour. Like, you know, it is also still work. But exactly, like you're kind of getting something, whereas we're feeling the absence of you guys. We miss
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Sure. I miss you too. Isaac misses you.
Yeah.
No, it sounds like you've sort of found a way to like, oh, I'm actually gonna like benefit myself with this time that Isaac's gone because I'm gonna spend more time with these relationships or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's been really good, actually.
It can be totally like I
Yeah.
took that time to be like, oh, you know what? I did some inventory. I don't feel like drinking anymore. Like, you know, it does allow for that kind of like quiet time to check into, which is nice. Like, I think ultimately, it is a good dynamic to get a little break from this guy.
Well,
you know,
I
every once in a
totally
while.
get that, but I was gonna say also like in some ways I'm jealous of your end of it
Yeah.
because like you're like, oh, today I'm gonna like take a bath and like watch a movie and like I can fart everywhere I want, like no one's gonna know. Versus like we're like running around, like we don't get a quiet moment.
Yeah.
Really, you know, like unless we like sneak out to find a bar or something. It's like not sneak out, but you know, like quiet moments are really hard to find on tour.
Sure.
Especially like ones where we avoid hotels, which seems like hotels are more common now.
This last one was, kind of back to normal with
Back
no
to normal.
hotels. Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be like, fuck hotels, no hotels.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, okay. Steve's like, hotels are the worst, right? It's like, I don't know. Or they're the best thing ever. And we could all have our own rooms. I'm like, wow, that would be amazing. But yeah, so like getting a quiet moment, getting time to yourself is like
Yeah,
rare
luxury,
on
yeah.
tour. And like, I picture you like sitting at home just like chilling, quiet, nobody bothering you. So I'm kind of jealous in a way
Yeah.
of your end of
Not
it.
so bad.
But the grass is always greener.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Sure.
doing.
We were with one of Isaac's old college roommates last night, and we had a really good time with him, and it was nice because Isaac was like, I finally feel like I can have relationships with my friends because I'm here for more time than just a
That's
week or
nice.
two. Because I feel like it's been hard for you to juggle the things, right? Like
Yeah,
juggle
it's like-
friends and family.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, especially too because like so many of my relationships are just built around skateboarding, and like with having the torn ACL, like not being able to go skateboarding.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of been missing like a social aspect of like seeing people, and then like skate friends would be a little bit kind of weird maybe for like all of us to hang out with, just because like I don't have that like personal relationship with a lot of people where like I'm gonna call one of them and like talk, like that doesn't exist.
That was something funny, by the way. When we first started dating, I was like, oh, well, do you want to invite your skate friends over? Like, we could have them over for dinner. And Isaac would be like, no, I don't do that. Like, I just skate with those friends. We don't do
I
anything
skate
else.
with
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Oh.
That's not to say that they're all like that. There's
Yeah, of
some,
course.
but yeah, I feel like touring kind of was a little bit damaging to some of my friendships where like I just sort of fell out of touch with like slowly with like one person, next person, and then like it kind of became more of a gradual thing where like I just wasn't around and didn't make the effort like to reach out to people.
Yeah.
And then like with touring, I'm like was able to connect with people I hadn't seen in a long time that had moved to like various places, which was awesome. But there's like one-off things where like saw the buddy here, like saw the buddy there, and yeah, it was kind of like I feel like I just fell out of touch with people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even being home for like a month. It's like, oh, I'm home for like a month, but like it feels so temporary. It's
Yeah.
like, then I'm gonna be gone again. Like
Yeah.
you don't like just go
Yeah.
back to normal in that month.
Well, and I feel like so much of friendship is like, I mean, this sounds bad, but a lot of times it's kind of like doing something you don't want to do to show up for your friend. Like, there's a lot of times where I don't necessarily feel like going out to a birthday dinner that night, you know, like, but you show up for your friend.
Yeah.
But then that becomes off the table if you're gone all the time. So it's like, you know, you got to show up for people. That's how you kind of like, you can't just say we're friends. You got to like walk the walk too. So that is tricky.
Well said.
It is tricky.
Yeah, so you've lost your excuse now.
Yeah, which was great. Like
it is a
last
nice
night,
excuse. Like, fuck, I wish I could.
Yeah,
I would. I'm in London.
Yeah.
Like I can't. I can't come over.
Yeah, you do that a couple times, and they're like, "Where are you really?"
Aren't you back?
Yeah. But yeah, it's cool to be like home for more than, like it's not finite. It feels like we're
Right.
home for, you know.
You're home.
Yeah, we're back.
You just live here now.
Yeah.
It's a real treat.
Just live here. Just living it up. That's good.
Well,
Living the dream. Okay. Great episode, guys.